pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Are there any changes, additions, so forth, subtractions to the agenda?
I'll make the motion first.
Go ahead.
I already made the motion. So moved. Move that we approve the agenda.
Okay. As presented?
As presented.
I'll second it.
A second. Okay. Any discussion on that?
I was the third one from Alan, correct?
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Minutes for approval, 7/8/2019, the regular meeting, and then 7/8/2019, special meeting.
I'll make a motion the minutes for 7/8/19 and both regular and special be approved as presented.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion?
I do not have any.
I assume that
Oh, you got
you're
something?
looking for the title of Pam Fecteau,
It
correct?
was, but it can be removed. Yeah,
Either way, I mean, with that fixed,
I did see that.
I'm fine.
Okay. Bob?
No, I'm good.
Dick?
I'm good.
I'm all set.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion
I'm
passes.
just going to abstain because I wasn't here, so.
Okay. Citizen comments?
Jim, you want to?
Beautiful.
Should we approve?
Joe, you can't do it, you're not a citizen.
I
Go
know.
ahead.
Well, darn.
You are, yeah. Just step
I was just going to ask whether we should review the special minutes of the special meeting?
My motion included both the
I
7/8/19 and the 7 regular.
Wasn't paying enough attention.
Okay,
Thank you.
We'll get over it, Joe.
yes, sir. Want to identify yourself, please, for Eliza?
Sean Gallipo,
Okay,
live on 37 Pine Street here in Castleton. Over the last couple months, the chief and them have been to my house for a noise disturbance for a neighbor, and they've been there quite a few times. And I found nothing for a noise disturbance. And in the town ordinance, it says within 25 feet is what the ordinance says. I was wondering if there was any way we could have that changed to a decibel reading.
Well, let me give you
Chief?
some background, board. So there's another neighbor lives up the road, made some complaints of music coming from Sean's house and a car. Brought to attention, I guess, about 3 months ago. Made contact with both parties several different times. He has some recordings of some of it, of the noise. So this is mostly during daytime. And in the ordinance, it's really listed as what is unreasonable. That's a very subjective term, that what is reasonable, what's not reasonable, because you really don't have a numerical score to say, you're this and that. It has to affect, the public to a point where it disrupts general business flow or whatever the case may be. So to enforce that would be very difficult. So we've been trying to mediate, get some kind of resolution between, Mr. Gallipo and the other complainant. And that's kind of where I want to go with it, to have a sit down, go over some issues, try to have a mediation that way versus trying to just throw paper on people if it gets to that point. You heard the complainant come in here, he went in front of the zoning committee, probably like 6 months ago. I forget his number where he lives at. He had complained about it, and we had dealt with it at that point. So this has been kind of an ongoing thing. So that's what he's talking about. So my solution is to mediate it, so get everybody together. I'll facilitate it, mediate it, and see where it goes. If not, because the approval violation would be very difficult. Because there's nothing that can go on. I mean, what's reasonable, what's not reasonable during the day. Sometimes a leaf blower, as far as I'm concerned, should be outlawed. you know, stuff like, you know, where do you set? So that's where you're at with it.
Are you receptive to that, Sean? I mean, are you willing to sit down with the
I
neighbor?
mean, just every time these guys come there nonstop because he's constantly calling.
Well, I don't think it's been a couple, I think it's been a couple weeks.
Yeah.
That's been a couple
We've
of
been
weeks.
busy.
Yeah.
My fiance's brother was in a bad car accident, so we haven't been around, so.
If that's something, Sean, that you want to do, and I already talked to him about that I wanted to do that, I just haven't, I've been busy, haven't gotten a hold of you, so that's kind of like what I want to do.
Okay. Any other citizens' concerns? Seeing none, hearing none, move on. Your police update, chief?
Yes, I know I got this in late today, my report. We didn't get in by Friday. You know, the biggest real differences on our calls were, we had a lot more accidents last month. We had like 5 more. We also had a lot of suspicious person circumstances. Now, that covers a lot of things. That's mostly either transient / pedestrian traffic, people hanging out at some locations where people are calling in and saying, hey, this is a little unusual, check the person out, whatever the case may be. That's what most of those are. And then obviously, everything else kind of stayed the same. Arrests, we had about, 4 more arrests during last month. Traffic tickets are down a little bit. We have been doing more directed patrols on East Hubbardton. We've done a few on Drake, trying to, because everybody in this town do have concerns wherever they live on traffic. So we try to put in these locations and try to keep things down to a minimum.
So you base it on the more complaints you get from East Hubbardton Road, that's why you guys are up there, or?
Well, it's really coming, it's that stretch by the Anderson farm.
Because it's a straight stretch and.
That's a straight stretch. Listen, and anybody will tell you, we don't sit up there that often, but Justin sat up there a couple Saturdays ago and rode a few, so they do, and that's a 35 zone.
He wrote some that were some pretty good sized numbers too, if I recall.
Some 50s and up. So in that area too, because of with a farm activity, with the cows, nobody wants to do
Yeah.
something like that, and it's, so you gotta be able to try to get up there during those times. Any questions on that particular part of the report, the stuff that we did?
Just for my own education, Chief, what is a VIN inspection?
That's doing the inspection of the serial numbers on the vehicles. So we offer that service.
I see.
So if somebody comes from the outside, from another town, we charge them if they bring a car.
Okay.
We do that.
Is that required like when you buy a used car from New York State? When's
Yes,
the?
usually it's required to buy an out-of-state car or a
Okay.
car that's never been registered in Vermont.
Okay.
So, yeah, we had a lot more, people, that was a big increase. People were buying, I don't know, for some tax money or what. Seemed like everybody was bringing something. Some of them were trailers, got a couple boats, so there's stuff like that.
Can I ask you what you charge for that, Pete? Is
$20.
$20?
Well, not for the residents, only for people that are non-residents.
Okay,
For Castleton residents, it's free.
okay.
Because nobody around in the county really do VINs. State police doesn't do the VINs. So a lot of people hear that we do VINs, so they say, hey, can I get a VIN? And I said, it's gonna cost you 20 if you're not going to Castleton. Some of them drive off, and I said, okay. Good luck finding somebody, that's all I say. So we had 2 accident tows in the back. You can see the cases when they were towed. And the reasons. I've not heard any complaints from anybody, so that's what we're doing. We plan to keep that, so. I do have, any questions on that?
No, I'll just say one thing. I know when, on the 621 crash, That was, executive towing was just the next one on the list, is how it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
They were the next one in the rotation.
Any other questions for the chief?
I do have one more thing to bring up. We do have hazmat money that we never spent last year, and we still have it. It's supposed to go to equipment and stuff. It's from the accidents that we had, from the hazmat, which breaks it down. So our total out of those hazmat accidents was $2,790. So what I'm requesting for your approval, if I could purchase, we're upgrading our handguns to 9mm. So we're turning in our 40 cals, and because the 9s are more expensive, we're going to cash in 3 of them, and then all we got to pay back is $625. Holsters, $463. 3 magazine pouches, $83. And then I want to get 1 taser. We're still upgrading our tasers very slowly. And that's for the taser, which includes the holster, battery cartridge, and training cartridges, $1561, which totals to $2732, which leaves $58 left out of that. So I'm asking if you guys would approve that.
Someone care to make a motion?
Make a motion, we approve the purchase of the 9mm, with trading in the 40 caliber for the police department.
Second?
Got a number on it?
Dollar figure, yeah, I don't remember what you said, Pete. Within the-
So the total for all the things I said is $2732.89 exactly.
And it's not just the pistols, it's the holsters, the magazine pouches, and the taser.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, chief.
I got a couple of questions for
For
the
the
chief.
chief? Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
How many speed carts do we have, chief?
Well, we have 2, and then Cy has, town has another one.
So the town has a total of 3.
3, correct.
Are they all 3 operational?
Yep,
Okay.
they're all out right now.
So the only other question, we've been talking, and it's been in Mike's report, and we've discussed it about trying to reduce the speed in certain places in town, in particular up by Bombazine Lodge. How expensive and what's the mechanism for getting one of those, like you have going into West Rutland, one of those?
Pole-mounted ones?
Pole-mounted
I
ones.
don't know, I know they're in the thousands. They are, for whatever reason.
Would you have time to investigate that along with the
Absolutely.
many other things we ask you to do?
No,
'Cause,
I can check that out.
There's a couple of key places in town, that being one of them, where that comes to mind.
No, I think you could have those, the permanent ones, and some of them run off solar, some are actually hooked right to the pole. So it really depends on where you put it. But yeah, I'll check the cost on that.
So I know the one you got out here has got to be slowing people down coming into the businesses on
Oh, yeah.
Route 30. It's got to be slowing people down.
Except at 6 in the morning.
Dick, I met with Chief last week, and we talked about that, and with following up with V-Trans, whether they have to do traffic studies and crosswalks up by the tap room. So,
Yeah, that's still a concern. I remember when we went over this, almost 3 years ago, after that fatal accident I had up there, and it was a big, and I remember talking to Bob Helm about it. He said you'd have to bring it from the legislator for whatever reason. It's got to come from DOT because it's a state highway. They have to do a traffic survey. I understand all that piece of it, but it seemed where it stalled. Somewhere it didn't get any farther than when Kyle and Dan bought all the property up there. That was contingent on that Act 250 or whatever the zoning issue was up there. So I don't know where that went.
And we ask you to at least find out what the process is, what the financial requirements would be, and then we can start making decisions on how to make this happen.
Joe?
Just a comment about this device out here, Pete. It is about half the time it seems to be very accurate, and about half the time it's clocking me at 10 miles over my speed.
You sure you got the right tires in the car?
Yes, I haven't changed them.
No, that will make a difference. If you put a bigger rim or bigger tire on a car, not that you did, because people have brought that to my attention.
Want to wear those when you go
No,
out?
no, No, that could be, you know,
Yeah.
they're, you
Just
know, they're not
check it out.
as accurate
Thank
as
you.
our
I thought they're
our
pretty
handhelds. Like, when a guy comes down from Maine and calibrates all our speed stuff, he doesn't necessarily do the cards, because that's extra money I
Yeah.
don't want to spend. I'd rather just do the stuff that we're enforcing.
Well, at least it's not
Could be it.
underclocking.
Yeah.
I just noticed the speed cart in Main Street of Castleton doesn't have a speed limit sign over top of it. Don't most of them tell you what?
Some of them do, but because you're passing two signs before you get there, that's kind of how you go at it.
Yeah, I just noticed that, okay, it tells me how fast I'm going, but if I pretty much knew it was 30 down through there, but you don't see another sign until you get down to the old Castleton town offices. I said, well, I don't know if I'm over the speed limit or not, but,
If it's flashing at you rapidly,
yeah, I didn't see it flash it. Maybe it does that.
Well,
It
because
doesn't do that too?
you set them up, you can make a flash of 5 over, 10 over, whatever you
Oh,
want.
okay,
So
okay.
that's kind of why when we do that.
Okay.
Okay, anything else for the chief? If not, move on to sign the MPG resolution. Mike, you want to comment on that, or you want to defer?
I'm
to
deferring
Janet?
that to the chairman, she's here, chairwoman,
Okay.
she's here.
Hi, we're applying for an MPG grant for zoning and subdivision language assistance. So this is $8,000, it comes out in August. I know this is a little early to have you sign it, but it's due in September, and I don't want to have a mad rush to get a grant in. Like we did with the last one, I'd like to prepare a little bit earlier.
Is this a matching grant?
I don't believe so.
No, I think this is just,
It's not
free- this is
like-
free money grant.
Yeah,
not?
this is-
Okay,
Yeah, the ones you like.
Yep.
The 100%ers.
Why is it you have to have the select board approval to apply for a grant? It's just a,
Because it's the town that's applying.
yeah, but it doesn't cost us any money.
You're the legislative body, you
Yep.
have to authorize
You have
us
to authorize
to do
it.
it.
I would think it'd be a no-brainer, that's all. Just,
Well, I mean, if you look at it, if they need my signature, and then they need all of your signatures.
Okay, is there a motion?
I would move that we approve the municipal resolution for a municipal planning grant. That's been submitted.
Okay, motion second, any further discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed.
Thank you.
so we're gonna sign that right
Yep.
now.
Yeah.
Jim's already on it.
And if someone could, at the bottom of page 1, if someone could just write the date in.
Write the date in.
What is the date on the first page? What is today?
22nd.
22nd. What kind of language are you using for this? What kind of language do you have to use?
Okay.
There you are, sir.
All right.
You want
Oh, we got certain
Make a
spots to
motion
sign
to,
too.
you can
It's
do
the
it
only, I
all.
believe.
To
Oh,
set the
yeah, I
rate,
mean,
the
You
municipal.
can't just sign it.
That means we
amount
can't
to be
screw
raised
this
by
up.
tax.
Oh, let's hope not.
Well,
We still can, right?
Cents,
I'm not so sure about that.
same for the, in cents,
Local tax.
for a total of that to be raised by taxes.
I give them up too.
No, there's that number.
Just the cents.
Still need a date?
I'll
I
take
think
care
we
of
got
that.
it. You put
I put the date on the first
The date on.
page. If that's the only place that needs it, we're good.
Yep.
You take it, you put it back in the blue folder.
There you go.
What I would say, the rate.
Next item is to set the municipal tax rate for FY 2019, 2020, and the homestead late filing fee. And I believe the way that Melanie usually likes this is each part of it, or, oh, there you are, Melanie, okay. Each part of it?
The auditor's preference, and particularly so that is clearly stated in the minutes what the rates are that the town has set.
Okay, so I gather then what we would suppose to do is the municipal total to be raised by taxes for municipal government, the homestead education assessment, the non-residential education assessment, and then the two at the bottom, total tax rate, resident, municipal, and homestead, and total tax rate, non-residential, municipal, and non-residential. And I think we could probably incorporate that into one motion as long as we include all the items.
So long as the motion is clear and everyone is in agreement on all of its parts.
And the education one, you're just accepting those rates? Those are set by the state, so you're just accepting those.
The other item that you do have to determine and approve, you may want to do it as a separate motion, is the late filing
Yep.
fee or penalty that's assessed for those who
Okay.
file their homestead declarations
Okay.
after the fact.
The high and low rate.
Someone care to make a motion that would include all of these particulars?
I can take a stab at it, but I want to make sure that I'm clear on one thing. The municipal amount to be raised by taxes is 0.43 or 4238.
No,
So,
no, that's last year's. That's this year's. Last year's, I'm sorry.
No, that's this year's.
2019, 2020.
It's
And
just
then
when it's put in the
There's a
top.
miss.
2019, 2020 is 0.4291.
No, that's the municipal total to be raised by taxes.
Gentlemen, can I assist?
There's a typo at the top of the page. So it's supposed to say 2019, 2020 for column, the first column?
The column on the left is the one we're approving, correct?
That's correct. That's correct.
But the difference is in what you say, you're not stating an amount to be raised by taxes, you're stating the tax rate
I understand that.
that will provide to raise a certain number of dollars in taxes.
We do not have to state the amount of dollars we're raising, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So my question was, if the rate is 0.4238, is that dollars?
Cents.
That's,
Well,
So it's 42.38 cents.
right.
Per hundred.
Per hundred.
Per $100.
Per
$100 of assessed value.
Okay, it is not .4238 cents, it's 42.38 cents. I want to be clear on this when I do this.
Correct.
That's all. Okay.
And from the auditor's point of view, do we need to include the specifics of rows A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H? Or is it the combination of A and B, for example, and the municipal total to be raised by taxes?
What the select board will be approving are the rates in A and B for a total rate of C.
Right.
And then the only other component that you will be approving is down at the bottom, the low penalty rate and the high penalty rate for the late filing of the homestead declarations. The others are things that you could accept into the minutes so that they are just on record. People will read the minutes, they want to know these things, rather than saying per attached. It's just transparency.
Hey,
Sounds
Dick,
I think I got
I
it.
just had an idea. Why don't you make the motion for what we set, separate from the motion for the rates that we accept?
I was just going to do that.
Yeah, okay.
You have to do it anyway, because the budget's been adopted. I mean,
All right.
it's really routine what we're doing here.
I'm going to make a motion that we set the municipal amount to be raised by taxes at 42.38 cents with the addition of the local tax agreements of .53 cents for a total municipal to be raised by taxes of 42.91 cents.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'd like to make a couple of comments on this. I probably should have made it before. I think we all, at least everybody sitting at this table, understands that the reason that is what it is because of using the $209,961 in surplus to stabilize the tax rate. That is the, unless I'm incorrect, the surplus from last year. And given our present situation in this budget year, it would probably seem unlikely that as of June 30th, we would have that type of surplus to apply for the following year. therefore, the spending is already in there. So, at budget time, you may want to take a look at this, because the spending is already there. In addition to that, we have the $7,500 that was voted on at town meeting for the July 4th celebration. So my rough arithmetic is that the spending went up from $3,112,000 to $3,314,000, or slightly over $200,000. Just as long as we're all aware of this.
And
Comment, Mike?
we also had, our grand list went up too. The
Yes.
411's up, so
Yep.
I think it's up about $4 million.
That was what, about 1%?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then when we go into the budget for next year, my initial assessment on that is a lot of the one-time spending that the board approved last year won't be in next year's budget, because the problem has been fixed. Like the $40,000 at the transfer station, to get that fixed, that won't be in next year's budget. So taking that into account, it's not doom and gloom for next year. It's just recognizing the fact that, thank you to the board for approving the $200,000 increase to get those things fixed and taken care of, and a lot of it won't be in there next year.
Remember, you're on tape and you're on camera.
Yeah,
You said it.
I did. I'll say it again.
Once money gets into a budget, it's pretty hard to get it out. If you're saying that these things won't be in there next year, no, they won't. But I'm sure someone will come up with something that will perhaps replace it.
We can try hard.
Okay. Okay, next motion, gentlemen, on the education.
I'm going to make a motion that the select board accept the homestead education grand tax list rate of $1.4886 for the homestead rate, and for the non-residential rate, $1.6387.
There's a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Well, I'm not really following you, Dick, when you move the point that's on the paper, you move it 2 positions.
Well,
$1.63 is 1.63, it's not 163 point. That's the
no,
way
it's
you read-
$1.63.87.
Okay, well, that's not what it says in the paperwork here. It's almost, that 1.63 is almost 1.64 with the 87 behind it. You're moving the point on there, and I don't think that's what you're,
I promise he's saying the same thing as what's written down. It's $1.63, 63.87, because of the last 2 digits. You gotta move the decimal.
I could say it's
To read it out.
163.87 Bob.
Right.
well, that's basically what you're saying when you move that point. That's the way I see it, so.
Either way, the decimal's gotta get moved.
And that's up about 4 cents per hundred.
Yes.
I think the one thing that always kind of catches my eye is a point that was made at a recent meeting of the Board of Aldermen in Rutland, when they had to do, of course, the same thing. And by the way, we have no control over this. This is totally determined by the state. They set the local education tax rates. The thing that kind of bothers me is, and the point was made, is that this not only is a non-residential, supposedly second home folks, it's also all of the businesses, and it's also would affect renters, I would think, because landlords would be inclined to raise the rent. So it's not just non-full-time residents. That's it. Any other discussion on this? All those in favor?
Let me add one thing in there, Jim. When you
Go ahead.
mentioned the renters,
No, I think
that's
that's
commonly said by some residents in town that the renters don't pay taxes. I strongly disagree with that, because
Yep.
where do you think that the landowners get the money to pay their taxes? They get it from the renters. So the renters do pay taxes, they just don't write the check to the town.
Sure.
But
Anything
that's
else?
where the funds come from.
Okay, you're right.
That's a good point you make, Jim, and, I don't want to ask anybody to do a lot of work, but I'd be very interested to know what percentage of this non-residential rate is second homeowners versus businesses versus rental properties.
In terms of number of parcels or grand list value or?
Value.
Okay.
So rental properties are charged as non,
Because of businesses.
Sure,
it is a business, yeah,
sure they are.
okay.
So I don't know who has access to that information.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes,
Joe, I would suggest you contact Mary Jo, our assessor. Probably the 411 would have a lot of information you'd be interested in, where it breaks down the value of the types of property that are taxed in the town of Castleton. Residential, mobile homes, seasonal, commercial apartments. It's a wonderful document that has a lot of information on it.
What's the number of that?
411.
411?
But she may have other ways of showing you information, depending upon what information you particularly want.
I'll follow up.
She can, I sat with her today, she can break those categories down even farther.
okay, any other comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
So
Passes unanimously. Last two there, Dick?
do I need to, set the total tax rate for resident and non-resident?
Might as well touch
Okay.
all your bases.
I'm gonna make a motion that we set the total tax rate for residents at $1.91.77 and for non-residential at $2.06.78.
Need a second?
Second.
All those, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Last thing I'm gonna
Yep.
do is I'm going to set the low penalty rate for late homestead declaration at 3% and the high penalty rate for late homestead declaration at 3%.
Second.
The second to that. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, moving on to the paving bid award. Mike?
Okay, for the paving this year, I went over last meeting what we wanted to pave. So, the two bids were one from Pike Industries and one from Wilk Paving. Based upon, we compared the tonnage, it's not really a whole different. One was 2,644 tons for Wilk, 2,706 for Pike Industries. The biggest difference when it came to Crystal Beach was a difference in how they estimated that. My recommendation based upon all of this is to award the paving bid this year to Wilk Paving.
The amount?
I got 181,457.72. Is that what you got?
Yep.
Okay.
181?
Run that game, Zach.
$181,457.72.
Versus Pike Industries was $234,866.40.
Yeah, why didn't Wilk put a total down at the bottom? I mean, it's not a big deal, but
You did it for him, Zach, so.
Just so you can do some
Okay,
math.
mate. Based on Mike's recommendation, is there a motion regarding the paving bid?
yeah, I'll make a motion. We award the paving bid to Wilk Paving in the amount of $181,457.72.
You want not to exceed?
Not to exceed.
Not to exceed.
181,457.72.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second it.
Motion second, discussion? Yeah, Bob?
Our highway supervisor is gonna oversee this.
Yes, every day they're here.
Okay.
Okay. Any
For two
other-
things, making sure they're putting the right amount on and the temperature's correct.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Heat pump, fire department, police department, transfer station. Mike?
Okay, in front of you, you have three bids for each one of those. I'm gonna start off with the Castleton Police Station. We had bids from McClure's Construction for $2,900. We have one from Moore Services for $2,928.15. And we have one from Allen Brown for $6,200. Looking through these, there are some discrepancies on rebates. It doesn't equal a whole lot. One of the things I did not see on the one from Allen Brown was anything about rebates, and Allen's actually here. Would you like to speak on that, Alan?
Yeah, the only reason mine doesn't show the rebate is the rebates right now through Efficiency Vermont are day-to-day. So we've had these bids in for over 30 days. We as contractors don't know when that rebate's gonna end. So for me to add that $500 rebate into my price as a discount, if I don't get awarded that bid before the rebates run out, then I'm out $500 basically. So my 500 will come off if awarded the job, you know, when I finally do the bill.
Okay,
Okay, so based on that, even if we took them out, McClure Construction, their invoice is for $2,900, including siding repair. And I recommend that the board go with McClure's on that one for $2,900 for a 1,500 BTU wall unit.
okay, their motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second to award bid for the police station to McClure Construction. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
The second
Next one,
one
Mike.
for the Castleton Fire Department. Again, same three bidders. McClure Construction was $3,900. Allen Brown was $5,900. And Moore Services was $2,931.
Fire.
Fire. Again, the only thing that I didn't pick up on this one that probably should be taken into consideration, and sorry to belabor it, but I think it's important, is where this is located. If it's located out in front of the building, the Route 30 side, as a comparison to where the wall unit would be, it's probably going to be cheaper than having to run it through the building and put the compressor unit and stuff out back. I think that looking at Alan, yours is out back, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know what the other ones are. I apologize, gentlemen. I don't know if theirs is going to be out back or out front. And I guess it comes down to a preference. Do you want to look at that thing out in front of the building, or do you want to have it buried out back?
Well, I have a suggestion, and I think I mentioned it to you once, is to put it in the area between the police station and the fire station and put some shrubs in front. I don't know if you,
That would certainly be an easier install, I mean, to do that, because you're literally piping out the wall to your condensing unit versus piping through basically what we classify a fire barrier. So everything in that, above the drop ceiling in the firehouse has to be fire rated. So every time we penetrate a wall, we have to now make that penetration fireproof again. So you're gonna almost double your line set by going all the way off what I would say the banquet wall or whatever, over through to the back where the other condensing unit sits, and electrical too. I mean, so yeah, you could definitely drop the price to do it out front. I was under the impression nobody wanted to see it out there. That's why I included to put mine out beside the other.
obviously, my first choice would be to have it out back next to the other one. However, if we're talking a few $1,000, and potentially, is that the number?
Yeah, that would probably be the number.
Then let's look at putting it where I just suggested. What do you think, Mike? Aesthetically, I don't think that would be a problem.
I think
That's
that we
only my
could get
opinion.
away with hiding that out front easily with a small fence or shrubs.
Well, I mean, specifically in that corner between the PD and the firehouse, I mean, I certainly do not want to see a condenser sitting out in front, next to the front door.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And if if these other two bids include that, then I'm really not thrilled with that, and without knowing that, I think that, I think that we ought to make sure that everyone's on the same page and then make the decision once we know that.
I didn't want to put it off, because by the time we do it, it'll be summer will be over, but it's probably the right thing to do, because there is a large disparity in the cost, because Alan was going all the way through the building versus the other ones may not be.
I do have a question on the police department, if I may. Do those prices include all the construction work that's needed to be done in there?
They say carpentry.
Okay, because my price actually included removing the through-the-wall unit, re-sheetrocking, painting, hanging of the evaporator inside, framing back up the outside and re-siding that spot that actually has Because you're gonna need to replace like 4 sections of siding out there where that air conditioning is through the wall comes out now. So that's why I'm gonna assume that's why my price is so much more expensive. Because mine's gonna be, everything's done, when I walk out of there, the police department has to do nothing.
Mike? You know, and all, as much as I don't want to go down that road, I think in fairness that it'll stick with us if we don't do this correctly. So I can come back to you guys in August for the police station, the transfer station. So if I could, I'll say we'll come back on the fire station and move on to the transfer station.
Okay, so we gotta are we gonna redact the one we just approved?
Yeah, for the police,
That's the one we just approved, right?
We approved
yeah.
that.
So we're gonna,
Are we gonna reconsider the police station, or?
I think we better.
Yeah, you know, unfortunately, I hate to be embarrassed about it, but it doesn't, we don't know if it counts going to the back or the front. So I'll eat that one as far as making sure it's clear, but like I said, if we don't do it correctly, we got people that are in town that do this for a living, and if we're not fair about it, it'll come back and haunt us, so.
Well, you're talking about reconsidering both?
I say reconsider the police and fire department. I don't think that the one over at the transfer station is a totally different scenario.
Is that agreeable to the board?
Yes.
Absolutely.
So
Okay.
are you gonna hold a meeting with all of the bidders and?
I'll do a site visit with, I'll have a
Okay.
bid.
Okay, go ahead on to the transfer station.
Okay, so transfer station, again, 3 bids. We got Allen Brown, 4,200. I talked to Alan before, and he had a concern with the size of that unit, but everyone basically put on there a 12,000 BTU, which is what I was told was adequate. So Alan's price for that one is 3,500. McClure Construction is 2,200, and Moore's Services is $2,003.15. And there was Alan had a concern whether, because this is a heat and AC unit for the transfer station. That's their only source, that if the temperatures drop below 0, that the efficiency drops, and that instead of getting the 12,000 BTUs, you're going to get in the 8,000-ish range. But I'm willing to move forward with this one. And looking at the price disparities, I'd say that I would go with More Services for $2,003.15.
Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Well, we got that one, Mike.
We're gonna revisit the other 2.
Yeah, we'll get that one straightened out and have it before the next meeting.
Do we need
Do
to?
you wanna rescind your motion?
Yeah, we need to do that.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I'll
yes.
rescind my second.
No, I think at this point, since it's already been approved, we'll have to, I make a motion that we reconsider. I think
Motion
that
to
would be correct,
reconsider?
Mr. President?
I think so. This
All right,
second.
I'll make a motion that we reconsider the awarding of the bid to the police station.
Second?
Second.
Okay, motion second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
I
done.
think we did that right.
I think so. The intent is there. Now we're on to wastewater quotes for new grinder pumps and generator maintenance. Your turn, Mike.
So, I don't know if everybody read through these and read Jeff's recommendation. I read through them, I met with him, and I support his recommendation for the generator maintenance contract for renewal using Brookfield. We use them for everything, and they do a great job, and are Johnny on the spot for us, so I would support, or I would make that recommendation to the board to use Brookfield for our renewal of our generator maintenance program contract.
Is that 2880? 2880?
Yeah.
I just read it.
It's, 2880.
And can we get that paid by July 31st, 2019?
For annual service, I'm reading right now. To get the discount,
It's not on the warrant, I think I wasn't aware of it. It's
Yeah.
You would have to make that approval for it as well.
Yeah.
Not just purchasing the contract, but making the payment, approving the payment.
So the 2880 is if you make the motion to support that, and I can call Brookfield and let them know what's going on, but
I think I can make this easy, Jim.
Do it.
Make a motion that we approve purchase order 043592 to Brookfield Service for preventive maintenance for the generators for the sum of $2,880 and also to authorize payment of same now in advance of award.
Second.
Motion second, any further discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Think that, will that work?
No work.
he also has the quotes for 6 new Gould's grinder pumps to stay into our having enough spares on hand, the 10%, which is the 6. In review of the submitted quotes, A1 sewer and drain is low bid. His recommendation toward the bid to A1 sewer and drain for the 6 grinder pumps in the amount of $8,445.
A motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion, we approve purchase order number 043593 to A1 Sewer and Drain for 6 Gould's grinder pumps in the amount of $8,445.
Second.
Motion to second, any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes. I don't see the, do you have the original? I don't have it in this blue book.
I don't think we have the originals for either yet.
Don't have the original? You got it, Mike?
I don't have the original for that one.
However, it's in the minutes we authorized them, so that should work.
Yep.
Because we don't actually have to sign them anyways. We just have to approve them.
Okay, the Birdseye property update. Mike?
So that was a fun adventure. So we did grieve to Polteny. I went down there, we looked for some documentation showing who, or where's there a deed to that 18 acres that are up on Birdseye, the old reservoir and dam up there. We haven't found it yet, but they did reduce the fair market value from $39,500 to $11,400 at this point.
That's showing 0 to 11.4.
It was $39,500. The last number I gave you before I went down there.
That's what I thought it was, but.
Excuse me. So we're still in the process of trying to locate the deed. I sent a letter to Castleton Fire District Number 1 Incorporated, asking them to provide any documentation they have of former ownership, anything that has to do with that property that might show who owns it, who maybe leased it, who has water rights to it if such a thing exists. And we haven't got a response yet. But I asked Mary Jo about what the taxes would be on it, and she didn't have it right there. She said she figured out she's like $257. So if the board wants to keep this moving, we could pay the $257 because it says that what we found was it said once or now owned by Castleton Fire District Number 1 Incorporated. That's the only thing that we could find reference this land up there. But we don't know if we really truly own it at this point. So it's ongoing. Mary Jo has some points of contact that she's reached out to see if they can provide any insight to it all, but right now it's a mystery of who actually holds a note for that property.
Do we need a motion to pay the $257?
I would hold off at this point. We can probably push this till the next meeting till I can get an exact number from her.
Well, did you say that it was at one time owned by Fire District 1?
It says that a deed of adjoining property said once or now owned by Town of Castleton, Fire District Number 1 Incorporated.
Sounds like it's theirs.
So, but no one can.
Fire District 1. Yeah.
But they don't have it. When I talked to Mr. Cressy, he was not aware that they owned it. He doesn't know any. So hopefully they can find something that either proves they do, or maybe even disproves it, they, so.
Okay,
Just a question on that.
Sure.
Does Fire District 1 have assets beyond this potential property? Can they pay this tax bill?
That I can reach out to them and ask them. It's $257, so it's not like we're talking large sums of money, but I can ask.
Well, it sounds like no one contends that it is owned by the town of Castleton per se. So it would seem like it's either owned by the fire district or its ownership is in question. But as long as we are operating on the assumption that it may be owned by the fire district, I think they should be asked to pay the tax bill.
seems
That's your
reasonable to
pleasure,
me.
then I will
Yeah.
do that.
Okay, anything else on that, Mike? No? Managers report, action items? Nothing?
Anything that in there that talked about assignment of funds, we're not at any kind of, nobody's got a chokehold on us right now, so I don't want to do anything until Melanie has got a chance to finally really close the books out, see where we're at, because when I went through I was talking to Jim today about it, when you go through the budget, there's a lot of things that show up in the operating budget that are smoke and mirrors, let's put it that way. It's like a tractor shows up as the operating expense, but it came out of the reserve for unassigned fund balance, so it's paid for from another source. It shows up in the operating budget, but the money's tucked somewhere else. So what you get at the end of your operating budget, it says that the town has overspent the operating budget for last fiscal year, it's not accurate. Plus we got, police department gets reimbursed through the Rutland County Sheriff's Department for grant stuff. That's lag time on that. So there's still stuff trickling in, so I just soon make sure that I can provide you guys with a solid information to go on for the assignments.
Okay.
And there is good news that the beach, I was gonna ask to assign money from the beach, but looking at the paving bid, last year the board approved the 15,000. We called it encumbrances. They don't want us to, our auditor wants to use it as assignment now. So we had 15 grand there, and we were short 11,000 on last year's bid because Wilk included Crystal Beach at the same tonnage rate as everything else. We're only $1,647, I think, short. So that's good news. Anyway, so I'd like to hold off on any of the stuff for assignments. And as far as action stuff goes, it's already been talked about for the hazmat funds for the police, so.
Yeah, why is your number different than the number that Chief gave us? Did he come up with some last minute items?
He included the 9mm Holst magazine pouches and stuff.
Yeah, okay.
But, so unless you have any questions on, oh, no, there is one. Number 2, it's on page 2, it's 2E, Ed Bulch.
I would suggest that be handled in executive session.
You got it.
Did you want to do something with 2C? Because it says action needed and it goes on to say what you're looking.
That's the surplus stuff again, so I
Okay,
want to hold off on
okay,
that.
okay.
I guess I wanted to follow up on item 4 on page 2, Mike. The second sentence there, V-Trans ... wants the project removed and built as planned. Can you explain that, please?
Sure. So right now, there's an area, there's several areas, but the biggest one is in front of Tom's Bait and Tackle. So there was a catch basin that was supposed to go in, but it did not. And the decision was made that it wasn't warranted. They could re-engineer and make the water go to the west to a drop inlet that's in front of, by his driveway. Well, when they put the pavement down, it's making the water pool. So it's not making it to the catch basin. So in front of Rob's property, it's pooling there. So the state, when they came down through and did their walkthrough inspection, it was noted, and they are saying that, I got a call today from VHB, from Sierra Ford, that V-Trans is directing that be fixed, which is gonna probably, it's not just grinding into the pavement, it's a total redo. One of their other punch list stuff was the area at the auto at O'Reilly's in the church there. On the eastern side, it's a mud hole right now, and it's not as high as it's supposed to be, so that's going to get fixed. There's an area at Hernandez Place, which is to the east of Paul's Pizza. We put gravel in there instead of making that topsoil and seed, so that he didn't lose any parking. The only thing that, now that the state has said, then I need to follow through, and we need to put some curb stops down so that nobody can drive over it. So there's a little cost there. I'll get some numbers for that. And then at Cody's Place, which is just to the west of Tom's Bait and Tackle, instead of putting in grass seed and stuff there, we put in gravel. He said he was going to tear up, put gravel in there anyway, even no matter what. So I'm still in discussions with Pete Pochop on that area, but something's going to happen. I'm not sure what yet, but I did talk to the pastor at the church, and he was concerned about water pooling. But as I was told by Sierra today, that the water that's pooling there is coming off his property, off the roof of the building. It's not in state right of way, so it's not really something that they're going to handle by a sidewalk project. The water from the sidewalk at the edge of the right of way is making it into the catch basin, so that's what they worry about. So I'll follow up with the pastor and let him know what the decision is there, but we're really not.
By you putting the sidewalk there, or us putting the sidewalk there, however you want to say it, is keeping that water from going down to the road to that catch basin.
It wasn't making it there before, though.
Well, I was drove in there today, and the water's that deep,
Yeah.
just the other side of the sidewalk, so, I mean,
Yeah.
the sidewalk is causing that water to stay there, I mean.
But it was, the road, or where the sidewalk went through, it's the same height as it was before. So there was.
Well, why is the water so deep now and it wasn't before, so?
Yeah. It's, they actually put pavement, they paved the apron there, so it may be on the back side of the apron, and on the north side, it slopes back towards his property.
That could be, yeah.
But it wasn't making it out before, so, one of the things that might help is fixing the western side with that. I don't know, we discussed it, Bob, and we talked about the west side. I talked to Sierra today about the east side, and she's like, the water was there before, it didn't change the height of it, so all the water's coming off their roof, and by the state's water that comes off personal property, they have no concern about whether it makes it to a catch basin in the state's right of way or not.
Any other questions for Mike?
Yeah, well, what about the driveway going into the physical therapy place and the hair salon? I mean, are they gonna make us take that out too, or?
I'm still arguing with that. Pete and I didn't connect today, but it looks like they're wanting that area between the hair salon and Iron Lantern to be grass. I know what's gonna happen. It's gonna be driven over and turned into, something else anyway. But I've expressed it. I gave you guys a copy of what I sent to them. I think I was pretty direct in what I said. But they don't live here, they don't have to deal with it, and it looks good on paper.
The other issue is down there in front of the Beverage King. I noticed that you guys left the two driveways coming out of the Beverage King, and you blocked off the existing driveway coming out next to the Legion. That one you blocked off is the driveway that used to go to Donnie Ballantyne's garage, which the Beverage King uses as the bottle redemption. So you blocked off a legal driveway and left an illegal driveway there. So that may become an issue too down the road, just.
I did meet with the Legion, and Cy Loomis is the second vice there, so he does the grounds and building. So I signed off as a co-applicant. The town is a co-applicant for them to get the permit to use that eastern side access. I explained it as between handicap access, the bingo, but I used EMS, fire, is needing that place to be able to marshal and get to a side of a building. Because if that parking lot's full, to pull some of those apparatus in there, there's no room to stretch hand lines or anything else. So I haven't heard back from Teresa on that yet.
Okay.
But I did sign off as a co-applicant for that.
Okay.
Anything else? Not? Move on, select board's comments. Zach?
Yeah, when is the meeting scheduled with Travelers?
Say it again?
The meeting with Travelers Insurance, when is that scheduled?
It's August, the first meeting, I
Okay.
can remember.
Okay, I couldn't remember when we set
Yeah.
that.
Anything else, Zach?
No.
Dick?
Just a couple things. Like, did we ever figure out what it costs us per ton at the transfer station to get rid of? Have we ever determined what that?
To get rid of what?
Like, per ton cost, like, what all our expenses are?
I'm not sure.
Well, in regards to, that's the only way you can set a tipping fee, is to know what it costs us. You have to do it by per ton. I mean, what's that 10-ton box? What does it cost us to get rid of that? Does it cost us $200, $300, $100? There's a cost to every ton of trash you get rid of out of the
Yeah,
transfer.
we've got lots of data on every time we bring trash somewhere. We have the tons that we brought and the rate, so we can figure that out, but.
Well, yeah, but there's more expenses to that tonnage. It's not just what you bring there. You gotta figure in the Rutland County Solid Waste surcharge. You gotta figure in your driver, you gotta figure in your truck costs. I mean, there's a cost per ton.
I did do that, Bob, I don't have it in front of me, because I did it when we come up with the delta for the, what we were in the red on, figuring in the truck. I used FEMA rates for mileage, the hourly, the $20 per hour rate, we know, the county's surcharge, the Rutland County Solid Waste surcharge, all that was all figured in. I don't have it in front of me, but I can.
I'd like to see that sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, are the numbers complete for the transfer station for the year, Melanie? They're not complete yet?
Well, are you talking about tonnage?
Oh, the tonnage and the expenses and,
Tonnage at this point, I think, is all, we've been billed for it all, so I got that, but, the transfer station is part of the rest of the town general fund, no, it's not complete.
okay. I'd just like to see it as soon as
I can
it's
do that.
complete, yeah.
Joe? Oh, I'm sorry, Bob. Does
Do you have any recommendations, Mike, on keeping track of keeping the Hubbardton trash separate from the Castleton trash?
Yeah, I know you're not gonna hear like what I want to say, but it's, with the manpower we have to start separating stuff, and it's gonna, and plus room, if you notice that we're struggling with room right now, I don't think it's worth the effort. I think that we can provide data, I just don't know if separating it right now is gonna be cost effective, I guess.
Do you not think it's a good idea to like maybe have two different stickers? Instead of Castleton's sticker being the same exact thing as the Hubbardton stickers, maybe have a different shape or a different color, so that when just to help out the transfer station attendees, so they say, oh, there's a Hubbardton car coming in with their trash. I mean, is that an idea?
What's the end state, what are you trying to get out of it, I guess?
So we can get to a more solid number of how much Hubbardton trash versus the Castleton trash. I mean, that's imperative that we know that.
I guess
You don't see it where it's important.
I don't want you to put words in my mouth, I guess, because I don't know what you mean by that, it's that important.
I feel it is.
We're trying to get to.
We need to know that would nail down our expenses, so we don't sit here and guess, oh, well, we think $6,000 of the $23,000 in surcharge is Hubbardton's, we think. It would get us closer to knowing, okay, it is 6,000, or it is 3,000, or it is 4,000.
We use a formula now, I'm not sure if that formula can be used applied to that same concept to the surcharges.
Well, the town of Hobarton pays an assessment based on a formula, and it's across the board for all expenses. We come up with a budget for the transfer station, and they pay X percent of that, as determined by this board and the Hubbardton select board.
I guess what I'm getting at
So
is,
if our expenses go up, they're paying their fair share based on the percentage you come up with. Now, if that percentage isn't adequate, I believe it's based on census figures.
Which is which is almost 10 years old now.
2010.
But I think that they share in the revenue, which I was not aware of until last week. So no matter, when we're losing on all of our, across the board, they make some money on revenue. It's something that I gotta look at, we'll talk to Melanie about and figure out, come back with you guys with a recommendation.
It just relates to our later on executive session, it's going to directly relate to that, so.
Yeah.
Okay,
Anything else, Bob?
no, that's it.
Joe?
Yeah, at the end of the last meeting, well, Joe Bruno brought a clock, and that got me thinking about those kinds of devices. And I looked back at the February 25th minutes, and there was a suggestion from Joe at that meeting about having a plaque for the clock that's up on the cupola. And I'm not aware, do we have that yet?
It's over at Initial Ideas. I went over there end of last week, or end of week before, to check on that. It's not done. They're etching the picture of the building with the clock tower on it, so.
Super.
It's not
I'm
done
glad
yet.
it's in the works.
Yep.
In that same discussion, there was a question about whether there shouldn't be some recognition for donations that contributed to the fire station. And I haven't been over there in the last several weeks, and haven't looked around at period, but that seems like a good thing for a town to do, to acknowledge the philanthropy and donations of its citizens. And finally, there was a question about a weather vane. I think that at that meeting, Joe asked Bob to follow up with the individual who has offered to create a weather vane, and said apparently that the Lions Club is prepared to pay for it. So those are just a couple of loose ends related to the project that I wanted to raise.
Do you have any
I have
progress
discussed-
on that, Bob?
I didn't aware that Joe gave me the okay to do that, but yeah, it's in the works.
Okay.
I believe Mr. Mantello is the one that's going to be doing it, so he's back in town, so yeah,
Okay.
I'll get on that, so.
That's it.
Okay. Any other comments, Select Board? I just have one. We talked about possibly having one meeting in August and then another brief meeting just to sign warrants. What's your pleasure on that, gentlemen?
Sounds good. You need a motion on it?
Sure.
Make a motion, we have one meeting and then another partial meeting to sign warrants in the month of August?
Is there a second on that?
I'll second it for discussion.
Okay. Motion second, discussion.
I'm just worried that if you have only one meeting in August, it's one of those meetings that's gonna run until 10, 11 o'clock. I mean,
Oh, I don't
do you
think
wanna-
we'll let that happen, Zach.
Well, it's happened before.
We were gonna have
I mean, it's-
Denise come in to do the pitch on her private insurance.
How much time does that person need?
Well, we did 30 minutes.
45
but-
minutes.
30 minutes, okay. Okay. All right.
So our first regularly scheduled select board meeting in August is the one that insurance company's coming to, right?
Correct.
Which is.
And that would be August 12th.
Okay.
So your suggestion or motion is to have another abbreviated meeting on the 26th, Bob? Is that
Yes,
your-
that would be right.
And so what exactly are you proposing?
Just to come in and sign warrants on the 26th.
Okay, it's been my experience that usually doesn't, there's gonna be a few other things we're gonna have to take care of, I just know it.
Well,
So-
you want, like on Pete comes in on the last meetings, you want to forego the police report that month, is that what you're saying?
I wouldn't be opposed to some normal housekeeping, but if there's something that has to be taken care of, we need to take care of it.
If there's an emergency, I'm sure the board would make exceptions for that.
Oh, that's fine, yeah.
Sure.
We just don't need to be here till 9:30, 10 o'clock at that night, you know?
There may be something that, like, is time sensitive for signature or something like that. so.
Okay.
Well, I'm just gonna say this one more time, because I
Go
say
ahead.
it every time we discuss this for the
Yeah.
last 3 years, that every time we try this, it usually doesn't work and it backfires on us, so,
Well, that's a matter of opinion.
okay. It's only my opinion.
How does it
So
back, I
we're
just
still
wanna know
gonna-
how it backfires, what do you mean?
Well, we wound up having 3 meetings because we didn't take care of things in a timely manner. That's, things like that happened last year. So I don't want to get into a
Let's-
big discussion.
No,
over it. I
let's just have the
wanted to-
2 meetings and determine what needs to be discussed at the second meeting in August.
I'm not opposed to
and-
putting some effort into minimizing the amount of time we spend.
Exactly, right. But I'd rather split it up evenly as opposed to just coming in, signing the warrants in the last meeting of August, and then coming in the first meeting of September and being here till 10, 11 o'clock because we didn't take care of everything at the end of August.
Can I say something?
Sure, Mike, you might as well. Everybody else has.
Except for you, Joe.
The town's business doesn't stop in between meetings, and it's imperative, because you guys make the decisions, that if we don't have the meetings and we push things off, then it got, well, you're gonna see it, the next meeting after that will be, you know, a longer list of stuff, but, I mean, I can probably minimize keeping it to things that keep the business going, kind of stuff, the lights on, versus minutia, but.
Do your best.
Sounds like a crisis.
I'm willing to give it a try,
Okay.
and I trust the chairman to use his
Let's be honest,
discretion.
guys, we're not gonna get up from this table at 7:20 at night and leave stuff on the table. It'll get done. Let's just make a conscious effort, you know?
Yeah.
Come on.
Quick comment, Melanie?
Just, Mr. Chairman, reminding also that the sewer commissioners need to meet sometime in the near future.
Yes, we've been waiting for that. Okay. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
Nay.
Hey,
Okay, and we do have the consideration of if there's some emergency action that has to be taken on the second meeting, we will do it, of course. Okay, moving on, warrants for approval.
make a motion, we approve warrant number 0722 for $311,259.97. Warrant 0718 for $6,226.68. Warrant 0711 for $19,699.32. Warrant 0709 for $20,104.28. Warrant 0718P for $18,464.29. And warrant number 0711P for $19,418.05.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
Just want to bring you to your attention, guys, the Rutland County Solid Waste District of Recycling, it cost us $935.93 to recycle last night.
Thank you. Any other?
No, good.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
I'll make a motion, we approve warrant number 0717P for $682.97, and warrant number 0710P for $682.97.
A second?
Motion to second. All those in favor?
I recuse myself.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
I'll make a motion, we approve warrant number 0709P for $342.62.
I'll second that too.
Motion to second. All those in favor?
Aye.
I recuse myself from that one.
We need to approve this one, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, we can do that one.
I'll make a motion, we approve purchase order number 043539 to Allstate Asphalt Incorporated for 2,850 gallons of calcium chloride at a price of $2,565.
Second.
Motion to second.
Is this for,
Dust control.
yeah, but where? Down by Crystal Haven?
Everywhere.
Oh,
Everywhere.
Okay.
Have we already purchased that? Oh, yeah, I'm gonna say, we've already been using that, right? Yeah.
Didn't
Okay.
send the
Put
budget
it
and
down
all that.
already, or?
All those in favor of that motion, 043539?
Aye.
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 Yeah. We got one more, Dick. Might as well do that too. You got one more?
Was there another one in there?
Yeah,
Pump service?
43588.
Oh, that's right.
This one?
Yeah, that's the original.
Okay, we'll use the original. I'll make a motion, we approve purchase order number 043588 to Pump Service and Supply of Troy for a repair of a main station pump for $4,065.04.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion approved.
Before you guys end, I got this one, somebody slid it on the desk. It's Young's Farm Equipment for Crystal Beach. Paul signed it, but you didn't, nothing's on it, so.
I don't even know.
I don't know if it's something, it's not the original, so.
It's with the result.
At least look at my
Now,
desk.
this is
Why
a
don't we,
document.
I just thought of this, and it took me 2 years. Why don't we just make a motion to go into executive session now, that way
Okay.
she can pick up while we're signing the, save time, can we do it? What do you think, Dick?
As long as there's nothing come up in the last item, we're good.
Right, do we have any, items for follow-up? Mike? Any items for follow-up? Jim?
No.
Okay, so I'll make a motion, we go into executive session for personnel.
Second.
Motion second, go to executive session for personnel. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's with the town manager?
Aye.